Warhammer, or that not really achievements, but things that you've done during the night, so you know you're making progress, so you know your realm is making progress. So as you're playing, you're getting these reports, or you have access to certain reports that say, hey, we're doing really well. So, I think there's ways we can do it, but man, that's a great question, and I absolutely agree with you. And I don't want to sit here and say, hey, we're going to decondition you, and we're going to get you all, loving the system so much, because that's going on the hype train, and like I said, not getting on it. But I do hope we'll be able to change, not your thinking, but change the way this game is played enough that you guys like it. Is going forward. Can we change this to BSC to BSJ? Love it. Thank you very much. That's really kind. Dragnog, thank you as well very much. Spookster, great question. How do you secure or ensure that casual players can get a nice reward too? Absolutely. And that's one of the other reasons for the system. We know that, this is not 1999 anymore, or 2001, or 1997. And that we can't expect, nor should we expect, that everyone who plays our game is going to want to play it for 10 hours a day, or do the early AM relic raids, or anything like that. So we have to find a way to make sure the casuals, and as always, when I use the word casual, I don't mean the casual guys who only come in, who are looking for the latest iPad game. I mean the guys who, really love this kind of game, who play this kind of game, but don't have the same amount of hours that they used to, or just actually never had them to begin with. So that's something we're going to look at. And that's, I think, one of the beauties as well about this system. That when we look at the aggregate of everything that went on in your realm, that if you tried to help, and not just sat in town, unless you're a crafter, and unless you just sat in town as a combatant and didn't do anything, that if you're going out, if you're trying to take things, if you're participating in combat, that you can be rewarded, even if you could only do it for a little bit. And that's why it's so important to aggregate the data over a period more than an hour, or a half hour, or 2 hours. So look at everything that went on in a game day, and say that, okay, this realm did really, really well. And the other thing, the other advantage is that it can kind of normalize the data a little bit, if I'm using this correctly, so that maybe when you logged on, maybe because you logged on late that night, you weren't able to have a lot of success. But overall, your realm did have success, and you tried. Well, you're going to benefit, from that. So, we'll see. I think we'll be able to do it. Bannerman, does this mean there'll be limitations on how much progression we can make in a day? No, it doesn't mean that at all. I've said already that, and I know Tim jumped in and said this as well on chat, that, look, this is, you're still going to progress in the exact same way about when you're using your skills or your weapons or things like that. There's no, that would be bad to say that, you did really, really well using your skills, but because your realm didn't do well, you'd be punished. So think of this as the icing on the cake, more than it is the only way that you can level. Friendly Fire asks about scale and weight and predictability. Yeah, I agree with you. If it's too predictable, if things don't change, then people will figure it out. I actually said that in one of my interviews. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Joy to Scott, thank you very much. Nanolox, I've answered that. Yes, we need to see, we need to come up with a way that you can feel like you're making progress, or you're making progress during your play sessions without actually essentially just substituting one kind of a report for a bar. Callie, are you measuring success down to the individual player? No, that's part of the plan. Gumshoe, will I be able to progress just as well solo as in a group? That's the entire point. If this system didn't work for solo players, that would be horrible. I've answered this before about skill progression and decay, but I'll answer it again. We haven't decided on anything yet in terms of skill decay. So is it certainly possible? It's certainly possible. It's something that we could see being useful, but we haven't decided anything, guys. Beard's on fire. Doesn't think that this is BSC because he plays ton of P&P games. That's the point. A question regarding IT testing in this progression system. Oh my God, we're so far away from testing this in a game. We actually have to get the game, and not just the game engine really running. Great question, Carrick. Will rewards for participation change or be based on the needs of the realm? What do you guys think? I think the answer should be yes. That goes as well to the question about predictability. If your king needs, more whatever, maybe they're running out of gold, or maybe they need iron, and it's whether it's through the bounty system or just through messages and criers telling you, what the king is looking for. That would be good for the crafters, right? It would also be good for the combatants to know that, hey, the king is really down on whatever. And so if you can bring it in right now, that's great. And by the way, this is not to get daily quests in the game. This is just to give you more information based on what is happening in the world as it's evolving because of you folks. Like an island's been taken. That was important, or you've lost, a mine recently that the king would like back. Kamer, helping the underdog realms will make it impossible to ever prevail on the other realms. No, not at all. Again, we're not saying that the underdog realms are suddenly going to get, huge bonuses so they can compete even though they're outnumbered 2-1. On the other hand, we have to make sure that the underpopulated realm, whether it's the underpopulated realm of the night or of the week or of the month, still has an incentive to log into the game and play. And that's one of the best things about the progression system, is that, you go out and you're part of an underpopulated realm. And you're part of an underpopulated realm. But on the other hand, you know that, if you guys do certain things that either the king wants or needs, or you do things that, bring in or allow you to still have success, that you're going to be very well rewarded. And you're going to, I think, be happy. Not about necessarily being underpopulated, but being able to get things done and being rewarded very nicely for it. Is it possible to become the king itself? Of course not. Not here. Wrong game. Dendavia, to avoid keep trading, why not provide rewards overwhelmingly larger for defense than capture? Well, the problem with doing that is if it's as simple as that, if you overwhelmingly reward defense, you can still have keep trading. Because if you don't punish people and all you're doing is saying, hey, huge rewards for doing the defense, then what will happen is people will just go, okay, got a huge reward for defense, and if you guys let us defend this keep for a half hour, then we'll turn around and you'll let us take it, and then we'll defend it for a half hour. So, unfortunately, there's no simple solution. I think it does take a more complex solution. This may be part of it. Wow, Valhalla, really, really nice. Thank you very much. Do I think I've revolutionized the genre now? Revolution. Oh God, maybe not today. Not a good day for using big words. Try to keep them short, like one syllable. Do I think we've really changed the genre? No, because I'm not claiming invention of this idea. This is an idea that goes back, to pen and paper games, and maybe we might be evolving it a little, and hopefully we will, and it will work. But thank you very much for the kind words. Noseborough, a question about the underpopulated realms. Very long question. I'm not going to read it, but that's the exact, or read it out to you guys. But that's the exact reason that we thought about this idea, and why I've pitched it internally, and why we talk about this. It's because we know that no matter what we do, unless we had realm caps on a server and realm limits, that there is no way to guarantee that the population of any realm, any server, will be equally balanced. This is one way we hope to compensate for that, to reward people for that, for playing on the underpopulated realms. So that's the idea here. This is not, me trying. Oh, look, he's trying to revolutionize. Yeah, I said it. The genre, or just trying to be different. It's based on decades now of game design, and certainly of game playing even more, of trying to anticipate and seeing the problems that have happened in other games and trying to do better this time. Mighty Nest, no defection, sorry. Um, the idea of guys having, or us building in a mechanism that you could really defect that way, that's just going to lead to problems. Ink Bear, have you thought about how to hinder people figuring out what the minimum and maximum stuff you need to do to get rewards are? Yeah, we've certainly talked about that a little bit, but at the end of the day, it boils down to having, as again, person asked earlier, enough randomness in this and enough change in this that it's hard, for people to really figure it out. Pseudocrat, have you considered flagging guilds guilty of keep training or other infractions and flag them as PvPable? That would be awesome. But then we would also see, as you probably know, guilds who then just decide, well, we're going to go out and we want to be flagged PvP because we don't care about this game anymore, and so we want to cause as much chaos as possible. We certainly saw that in Dark Age when it came to individual players who, as you guys probably remember, who just want to be banned, and they've canceled their credit cards, so they do all this stuff, all this bad stuff. So, McDeath, I'm a bit worried about the system. Dude, so am I. I mean, come on. That's why this is the last of the design presentations. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be, something that, not only is harder for the players, such as yourself and us, to understand, but also to. That's why, again, all these things are being, presented to you folks now, and that's why the surveys are going out. Which, by the way, thanks for thanks for your continued response to the Magic survey. The numbers keep getting better and better, and so that's why we're doing this. We're doing this because we're worried about it too, but we want to try it. We want to talk to you guys about it and get feedback.